So now let's talk a little bit about your post-dry ideas, your strategy. Before you plant, you need to know what you're going to do with this crop. Are you growing for smokable? Are you growing for CBD oil? Are you growing for distillate? What is your post-harvest strategy? You need to decide that up front and have a plan before a seed is put into the ground. That's very important. So now, why do you extract? Well, extraction right now is where the value lies in the hemp industry. In a second, I'm going to show you a few slides that are the national rates for hemp biomass, extracted crude, distillate, THC-free distillate. Biomass on a percent basis is dropping. It's dropping everywhere. So don't think you're going to sell your biomass, your 10% CBD biomass for $30 or $40. Your per percent ratio, your rate is going to be more like right now $1 to $1.50 per percent per pound. These are very realistic rates. They're not your $3 per percent per pound. It is much lower than that, and that's biomass. So what's your next best option? Well, it's extraction. Now, what about crude? What about distillate? What about isolate? What are the values of crude? Well, right now, the values of crude are just below $1,000 on a national average, per kilo, by the way. In some cases, it's $500 a kilo. That's not good. In Oregon, a few years back, we're seeing what for crude oil was.
Last year we were selling the ethanol-backed crude for $1,800 a kilo. This year it's selling at $700.
So that's your first round process. That's your crude oil. Those are not the $30,000 per kilo numbers that you've probably heard. This is real life. So now let's talk a little bit about extraction. When you extract, your first phase extraction is into crude oil. Your crude oil, as we talked just now, is worth probably about $700 a kilo. But how do you get crude oil from your flour? Well, the extractors can be CO2, can be ethanol, can be butane, propane. What they do is they'll take all the CBD and other minor cannabinoids out of the floral material and extract it into an oil. The first round is the crude oil. You will lose probably 80 to 90% of your weight in the first round extraction alone. So if you have 10 pounds of biomass, you'll be left with maybe a pound or 2 pounds. It's pretty unbelievable. And then to go from crude oil to distillate, which is the phase 2 extraction, you're losing an additional 20 or 30%. So all in, from biomass to distillate, you've lost 92%, in most cases, 92% of your weight. So what was 10 pounds of biomass is now less than a pound of distillate. Distillate is sold in terms of a kilogram or a liter. Liters and kilos are the same thing. So you're selling, it's not per pound, you have to divide your pounds by 2.5 to get a kilogram or a liter. So if you have 4 pounds, that's about a little less than 2 liters, or 2 kilos. It's not a lot of material. But by and large, the most valuable, or the best way to monetize your hard work is through extraction, is through processing. Unless you're growing a specialty crop like a CBG for flour, where yes, your per pound rates can exceed $700. That's for CBG smokable flour, $700 per pound versus $10 or $20 per pound of CBD flour smokable. Huge difference. Now, how do you know what processor you should use, where you should go, where you find a processor, how do you work with the processor? So we do happen to have a couple processors here, but the best thing you can do is go look at the KDA website. They have all their processing license listed. Do some research. If you want to know exactly who to go to, who to trust, you can ask us, Sunnyland, talk to people, but make sure you go see their facility, develop a relationship, a rapport, and make sure they're giving you accurate information, and they're not saying, you're going to get $5,000 per kilo crude. That's not the case. If you hear that, go to somebody else. So you guys are farmers. What did you do for your post-harvest process? Did you grow and sell smokable, or did you take your biomass to extraction?
We didn't do smokable because I don't know much about it. So it was just something I didn't want to get into this year, just because I had everything else going on. So we took ours to extraction. And I think that's the best way to go. And we didn't do biomass. We're taking it further to distillate because it's worth more. If you do it all on paper, it's worth more such as we went that way.
We went through the same route. We got our dry material back from these guys, and then we took it out and extracted it to get our distillate process.
Yeah, we kind of were all on the same page there. And just kind of give you an idea, like what Christian was saying, we had our first 11,000 pounds processed into crude oil, and we had 513 liters coming out of 11,000 pounds, which is damn good. I would usually expect somewhere in the neighborhood probably around 400 for that number. So again, genetics is a really big deal. You can actually get more product with the same yield when you start going into things like oils and things like that. But what we've done is we went to a crude oil. We're already about a third of the way done processing into crudes. And then everything is going up to Oregon to our same guy that did overseas with us. He's got an extraction facility in Oregon, THC-free distillate. So that would be about as far as we can.
Which, by the way, THC-free distillate is currently sitting at the highest value of any of the oils, is a THC-free distillate. It's hard to get to. Not a lot of people do it, but it is incredibly valuable.
And if you decide to go to a THC-free distillate, just know that the charge there, that for us to get to crude, they're going to process into our oils. Now, they're going to take 30% of my oil, and that's actually a really good cut.
That's best case scenario.
That's what my cut is this year. But I did a lot of work for these guys. So the other thing, though, is you're usually looking at about 40%, I would say.
40 or 50.
Yeah, which is pretty average. So think about that when you go to crudes. You are going to lose about 40% or more of your product. And then the same thing happens when you go to a THC-free isolate or distillate or anything else like that. You're looking at, for me, stealing, and I'm paying 90 cents a gram to go to a THC-free. Most people are probably between $1 and $20 for it. So, yeah, and so we're going to have, somewhere in the neighborhood, and at the end of this, from about 42,000 pounds, 41,000 pounds, we'll only have 1,400 liters of the isolate.
So let's just talk real quickly. Billy just mentioned a per gram rate at 90 cents or so. Extractors work in many different ways. You can work with an extractor and they'll say, as an extraction fee, we will keep 40% or 50% of the extracted material and we'll give you everything back. Or they'll say, we're going to keep everything, we're going to sell it all for you, but we are going to keep 40 or 50% of the revenue. Or they can say, come to us, we'll extract your material, we're not going to sell it, we're just going to give it back to you, and you're going to pay us at 90 cents a gram or even higher. In some cases, some guys in Colorado are charging $1.10, $1.50 per gram. That is astronomical. So be sure you're working with these processors. You know what the split rate looks like. You know what you're seeing at the end of the day. Ask every question that comes to your mind. You need to be clear. Processors need to give you answers. And you need to know exactly what your product will be at the end, how much you'll have on hand, and what your return could potentially be from that. Can you go to the next slide? Keep going one more. So let's talk a little bit about processing. This is a quick chart. I don't know if you can see it all that well, but you have CO2 extraction at the top, butane, propane in the middle, and ethanol down below. Don't get thrown off by the faces. The yellow face is still good. It works. The red face, it works, but it's not as ideal as the others. So if you're talking from in your case, left to right, you've got vape pens, live resin, dabbing, distillates, terpenes, edible oils, and infused products. Butane propane extraction is great, CO2 is great, ethanol is great. Just a quick chart to give you a reference as to what extraction method you're going to use for your end product, which, by the way, you've decided ahead of time where you're going to take this material before you plant your seeds. So knowing what you're going to do post-harvest should tell you exactly which processing method to go with. Next slide.